Hello everyone, it's the Breet. Today I wanted to do a little bit of a comparison for some of the new Tamagotchis that are coming out. So thankfully the US is getting a new release of Tamagotchis, the originals from the 90s. It's so exciting. And I wanted to do a little bit of a comparison, even though there's not supposed to be too much different between some of these new ones that are coming out and some of the previous ones from the 90s. So I just want to start off by saying, so these two, you might have seen people post about them. These are the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive shells. So these were only attainable by going to San Diego Comic-Con, or like in my case, I went on eBay and paid the premium price to have somebody go get them for me. I've noticed lately that there's been a little bit of controversy within the groups about what people are able to purchase for themselves, and I see a lot of our younger collectors being upset or feeling like, that people are spending too much for a lot of this stuff. And I get that our community has changed dramatically since we've had the new Facebook groups and we've had the 20th anniversary bring in a lot of new collectors. And you have to remember, with this collecting, a lot of us have been around for a very, very long time in collecting these things, and all of us collectors come from different walks of life. We have teenagers, we have people in their 40s and 50s, we all come from very different places. And so when you have collectors like myself and some of the other ones that have been around for a long time, and we spend a great deal on some of these items, it's not that we're spending our whole entire paycheck on this, For me personally, I'm in my career. I've been working in professional fields after college for 6 years now, so I make enough money that these don't seem like a lot. So I just want to put it out there, just because it's not something that you can do at this point in life. I've been there in college. I had to quit buying. I did not have the funds to afford any of this stuff. That's not where you're always going to be. And if you really are passionate about collecting and are in it for the long haul, like many of us are, you will be shocked in 10 years' time what you have in your collection that you never thought you'd have. So I just wanted to put that out there for some of the younger viewers and the newer collectors we have in the groups that really feel discouraged when they see some of us in our collections and what we've been able to procure. Just keep in mind that you'll be astonished at what comes along the way if you are really in this for serious collecting. So anyway, after that whole soapbox spiel, let's get into these P1 and P2 releases. So with these, they're coming out with the Gen 1, Gen 2, or as we in the communities call it, P1, P2. And at San Diego Comic-Con, they came out with these metallic shells. Now, unfortunately, these particular shells will not be available outside of Comic-Con. These are exclusive to that, but the P1s and P2s are coming to stores in different shells. There's actually like a mermaid one and rainbow one that everybody's really excited about. So there's going to be some good shells that are coming to the stores, but they are coming out with the original P1s and P2s. And so I want to do kind of a little bit of a box comparison between these. So if we start off with the original P1, so this one has a particular convention exclusive top to it. But we see a lot of the original artwork was brought back for these. And it's got the customary checkered background. We'll get into what's actually on the pet in a bit. See, we've got the original Tamagotchi side. And so the packaging looks very similar, has a lot of the similar artwork and explanations on it as it did in the original boxes. Just plain top and all that really super interesting, no, not so much stuff on the bottom. So this is what the new P1 boxes look like, but let's take a look at the old P1 boxes. So these are the ones that had the fold top front. These are the English release, of course, as we are comparing the new English releases. But you can see a lot of similar artwork was used. So you can see on the actual Tama that we have very similar character, the Kuchipachi with the checkered background. So they've brought back a lot of that familiarness. These are when they were originally on the hooks in the store shelves, which I'm curious how they're going to display these. I'm thinking probably what's going to happen is they're going to have a plastic hook here, because when I used to work back in the toy departments, they would put that there, and that's probably how it's going to hang on the shelves. But since these were the convention exclusives, they didn't need to add those. But I'm betting that's where it's going to go. So a lot of the original artwork. Still made in China, but I think the Bandai America place has changed. Yeah, this says Cypress, California. This is El Segundo. Not that that really matters. I just think it's kind of interesting that they did move over the years. Oh, and this does say the battery difference. So the new ones, they are taking the big 2032 cell batteries instead of those two tiny LR44s. So that will be a difference that we see in the actual Tamagotchi itself. So let's go ahead and open these. I'm going to cut the tape on them and pull them out and come back when I've got it out of the package. Okay, so quick comparison here. They are very similar on size. Pretty sure they just used the original molds. But you'll see there's a little bit of difference here in the bottom. Looks like they've got some new regulatory signs that they have to put on these than they did before. So the back stamps are a little different. You'll see these still have the 97 on them, and this one has the Bandai 2018. I believe that's what that says. Oh, Bandai Wiz 2017. That's kind of interesting. They have the 2017 trademark on them. Looks like the pull tabs are pretty similar. This white one has never been opened before, so I can't guarantee that if I pull the tab that it's actually going to start up. The batteries may be dead as they're over 12 or over 20 years old, so yeah. But still look very similar. Same backgrounds, same icon background so far. So here's the difference in the original instructions. So you can see they've downsized the instructions quite a bit, but it looks like the message is still very similar. I really enjoy that they kept a lot of the original artwork. I feel like that is an aesthetic that younger audiences and younger collectors didn't really get, was this style and how much it fit within the 90s, and it's very nostalgic for a lot of us older collectors. So here's what the original instructions look like. Just showing how you pull the tab, adjust the time. So we'll see how similar they kept the new instructions. So it looks like they've updated the artwork of the actual shell, but it looks like they've really kept the original idea of it, their original aesthetic. I do like how much more detailed these are. A lot nicer than the ones we used to have, but still kind of... Yeah, see, like, I think these shots of the screen feel very 90s, and they're probably the original 90s ones. But yeah, looks like they've kept it fairly similar. Still have the growth chart, so not a whole lot of difference, just a little bit. And then you can see they had to do totally different instructions for the battery, because this now takes the 2032 large flat cell batteries rather than the small LR44s or 357s if you use the North America nomenclature for the batteries. They're also called AG13s, I think, for different regions. So let's see if this one actually even works. We'll see how similar this is, because this one has actually never been opened. I just now opened this, so this has been in its package. This is the original white and black shell, been in its package since 1997. I just never got around to taking the batteries out of this one because I am very, very pro opening your virtual pets, especially the old ones, and getting the batteries out. I paid for this the hard way, learned from my mistakes, so I'm glad I'm kind of getting around to this one finally. And okay, so the battery still has some life in it. Probably wouldn't last more than a generation, but looks like we've got a little bit of life. So we've got that tab pulled. So let's pull it in the new one. Oh, the tab's longer. That was a long tab for that 2032 battery. Looks like we've got the same little bouncing egg, but I have to say, so I don't know if you can see this on camera. Do you see how there's a box around the white one? This may have to do with the age of the battery, but I kind of find that interesting. You don't have that on the new one. Kind of a rendering box that's around this egg. So, okay. Ooh, yeah, my display on the right one. That battery is not doing my display justice. But as you can see, everything's still similar. Same programming, so we're gonna let this one sit to the side, and I will replace his batteries and make him look better later. So, let's set this up. Let's see. I usually do a time earlier than what it actually is when I set these because I like to have my mornings to get ready for work, and I really don't want this waking up. Like, I'd rather it wake up when I'm at work, and usually it'll wake up when I'm getting ready if I set it to the regular time. So I'm going to set this for a couple hours earlier than what it actually is. That way, when it wakes up tomorrow morning when I get ready for work, then it'll give me a little time. So that's about what time it is. So, and this will take 5 minutes to hatch. So I'm going to set this to the side, and we're going to take a look at the P2s. So while that one's hatching, let's bring in the new Gen 2. So once again, this says that it's the convention exclusive. However, I love that they kept this detail. So this is the one the purple came in, the Gen 1, but see how it's purple. And these are not purple and blue according to the shell that's inside. So Generation 2 is blue. I think they may have made the shells these colors because of this, but if you look at the original packaging, the way, these never said Generation 1, Generation 2, or P1, P2 on the packaging in the 90s. The way you could tell the difference was the color of the packaging and the background of the screen. So P1s will always have that checkered background, and their packaging will always have the purple on it. So I really, really enjoy that they kept that aesthetic with this packaging. So you see that this has the teal in place of the purple of the other packaging. And here is an original 90s P2, and you see that it's all been changed to blue. So if you look at the background, it's actually this like swirl, and in the 90s, this is how we told them apart. Other than memorizing shells, this is the easy way to tell what you were getting. So you look for P2s with the blue packaging, P1s with the purple packaging. So I really like that they kept this aesthetic, and I think that's probably why they chose purple and teal as the convention exclusive colors. Find that really interesting. I really like the nods to the original generation. The fact that they kept those details is really nice. So not too different on the packaging, but you can see that they've got the different characters on here because the P1s and P2s have totally different characters that you can get on them. So you'll see that the character artwork has changed a bit. But so far it's the same, just a different color. You'll see different characters are featured here. But pretty much the same look. just different characters on the packaging. So then if we pull out a P2, this is the original from the 90s, you'll see that a lot of the artwork they have is similar. They don't really change a whole lot. I just pulled this particular shell because it was cute. But the packaging is basically the same. Even on the P2 packaging, it still has it shows like a P1 shell with a P2 background, so I find that kind of amusing. One of the things they changed in the originals is that on the P1, it was a syringe for the medicine, and then on the P2, and this is the original 90s versions, they changed it to a bottle of medicine and a spoon, which is pretty interesting that they decided to make that random change. I guess parents in America couldn't handle a syringe. I don't know. You guys got to think, I guess this is just the decade after the war on drugs from the Reagan era. That's got to be the only thing I can think of. I mean, we had kids shows that couldn't display that people died. So it's like, you know, we always used to make the Yu-Gi-Oh joke of, where'd Grandma go? Did she die? No, she went to the Shadow Realm. So that's a little joke for some of you Yu-Gi-Oh fans. Sorry for anybody who hasn't seen that show. But, yeah, so you can see some of the differences in the packaging, so I'm going to go ahead and open these, and more than likely, my purple one should be hatching pretty soon, so let's check these out. Okay, we are going to hatch when it hits 5:30. Oh, I'm already getting thumb marks. No! Aww. Little baby! So let's take care of him real quick before we start opening up the P2 packaging. So out of habit, because I run the Morino so much, I always play first instead of feed. Yeah, so that's just a built a habit. So this is, you have to guess the direction. I'm not great at it, but one of the patterns I've noticed is that sometimes, not always because it is random, it tends to like to go in the same direction. So when you're playing this, pick a direction and just kind of stick to picking that same direction over and over again, and you tend to win a little more often. And this probably isn't always true, but I've noticed it likes to go right quite a bit every time I play. I don't know what it is. See, so I'm choosing left and it's failing. I don't know. I tend to choose right all the time, and I tend to get through the playtime a lot faster, so, well, a little tip there, so you might want to just always choose right. And see, I don't know what it is. I know it's probably just random, but I just have a better time when I choose right. Now, alright, to me, that seemed the programming went a little faster than the original. The tune, I don't know, maybe you guys can see what you think. That felt a little fast to me. Buttons are super responsive, so that's great. So we have the meal and snack, just like in the original. So just like the original P1, it's a piece of bread for the meal, which, my goodness, let's just white bread this thing to death, okay? And then candy. So apparently the original Tamagotchi P1s lived on carbs. So let's feed him a couple more pieces of bread. Make sure that he is carbed up. Poor thing is going to be a diabetic before it even reaches toddlerhood. So, alright. That one is hatched. Let's check out the P2. Alright, so now I have the P2s out. So one difference that you'll notice is already that the instructions are a different color than the top ones here. This one's a little more of a red purple, and this one's more of a blue purple. And then these seem to be pretty much the same color, but they've changed the instructions to be the blue color to denote the difference between P1s and P2s. So I appreciate the nod, Bandai. I have to say, I'm appreciating this attention to detail. Crazy collectors like me really like this kind of stuff. So just look at the original instructions. Look like we've got the little professor on there now, which we didn't have before. Similar message. Looks like a lot of similar artwork. I can't imagine they would change too much of this, seeing as it really plays identical to the P1. The only difference really is the characters and the fact that they changed the medicine icon on this one, and that's really the only difference. So sorry, my cats are fighting behind me. And here is the Gen 2. So slightly different blue color, but it looks like a lot of the artwork that they used for the Gen 1 is really similar. And here's the funny thing. So they've used the original photos from the 90s versions where it still has the syringe, but on this version, in the original, they changed it to the medicine, so it'll be interesting to see. I think they might have kept the syringe on this version, so that'll be interesting if they kept that. But, yeah, very similar instructions. So let's untab. Oh, looks like the battery's good on this one. This one I hadn't opened yet either, so I specifically chose to. I hadn't opened yet just so I could make sure to get the batteries out. But not seeing the crazy box around this one, so it looks like the battery is in much better condition on this one than my white one up there. So not too bad. We've got the checkered egg. So this was important back in the day to tell a lot of these apart because the egg pattern will help you figure out which version you had, because I believe it is the Japanese versions in their P2s, there was a Series 1 and a Series 2. And unless you had had it memorized which shell was which, you wouldn't know which one you had. And that was because the Pochichi character that you would get on the Series 1 was actually the Nyanchi character that you get in P2. I think that was the right name. I'm pretty sure it's Nyanchi. I'm starting to blank out for a moment, so that was kind of interesting in the Japanese versions. But we've got the checkered egg here, so let's see if they kept the checkered egg on this version. And the backgrounds are very similar, but I do see the spoon, the medicine spoon in this one. But we still have the swirly backgrounds. Let's pull the tab on this one, and of course, much longer tab to accommodate for the 2032 battery. And yep, looks like we've got that checkered egg. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this one back, but we're going to start this one. So very similar, very responsive buttons. So we're going to set this, once again, it's now like 38 or something, so close enough. Okay. And we'll leave this one to set to hatch. But it looks like... See, I feel like the buttons on the originals, there were a lot of them, you would get some that were very responsive, and then you'd get some that would feel a little more stiff. And I have to say, these feel a little stiffer, and I won't say that it's due to age, because I've played with these back in the 90s, and it would be hit or miss on which kind of button that you would get. But however, on these new ones, I'm not feeling that at all. I'm not feeling any hesitation. It's very smooth. It's very easy to press. So when these come out in stores, it'll be really interesting to see if they've fixed some of the stiff button issues that you would get. And I think that's just differences in production times and quality checks. Because in the 90s, you have to think, because these feel a little lighter, and I don't want to say it's just due to the keychain, but it does feel very solidly put together. It's a nicer quality, and I just feel like the quality control on these is probably going to be a lot better than what it was in the 90s. In the 90s, these were chucked out as fast as they could because you could not keep these on the shelves. The mania for these in the 90s was very different than what anyone sees today. I will never forget how long it took me to find my first virtual pet, because every single toy section in every single store we would hit was completely wiped out of virtual pets. So it's kind of interesting. I'm hoping that maybe a little more quality control will be put into these. So I'm gonna wait for this one to hatch and come back. Ooh, more foam prints. And then you can see we got a slightly different baby on this one, because this is the P2. The only thing I'm noticing with these SDCC shells is, oh my goodness, the fingerprints. So that's going to be a little bit annoying with this particular shell. So let's take a look here. See, the food has changed. You don't no longer see meal or snack. This is just like the originals. You get a burger and a cake. So hey, we've got some protein here. Looks like these guys are omnis, so they can take a little bit of protein with their carbohydrates. Icons seem the same, except for, if you notice, there is the syringe icon. So in these new ones, they did not change it to the medicine bottle and spoon, which honestly makes sense, because if you think about it, if they kept that the same, then it keeps production costs down and they can just chuck these out with the same screens. So, smart move, Bandai, and not something except for us crazy collectors would notice something like that. So, otherwise, you can see all the icons look very similar. Yeah, there's no changes so far in this, and what I did notice with the purple one, it's got the same programming that you can feed it. So let's say we feed it like 4 burgers and cake. If you go into the weight menu, you can see he didn't gain any weight. So that was kind of a quick trick for those of us that were playing in the 90s, is that we would just fill it up on cake the whole entire time it was a baby, because it was a lot easier considering how quickly it would empty out hearts. But the game with the P2 is a little different too, as well as, you know, the different characters that you get. So this is a number guessing game. You have to guess whether it's higher or lower. There's a very, very easy trick to this. All you have to do is use what's statistically going to come up more often. So let's say you've got a 7 or an 8. There's a lot more numbers that are lower than 7 and 8 than are higher, so you just always choose lower. That's of course different with 5. What I usually do is my method, I find it works almost every single time, is that if I come up with a 5 and the last number was like a higher, then I go lower. So just as quickly going through this game. Okay, 9. There are no numbers higher than 9, so you go lower. You're guaranteed to win. Okay, 7. Oh, so look at that. Okay, so now it gave me 7. I say it's lower, which is 3. My next number is not 3, it's 4. So there is a change in the programming right there. So in the original game, let's say I give a 5, so I say it's going to be lower and it gives me 4. 4 would be the next number that comes up here. So it looks like they have changed that programming. So there is one programming difference we found in the game, but still work with your odds. Work with it statistically. What's going to more likely to come up, and you'll win the game almost every single time. So you can see this is, I mean, oh, and see, I chose higher on 8. So yeah. But it looks like we did find one programming difference. The game does work a little differently. But otherwise, how you guess is the same, but what number comes up next, I've noticed they aren't reusing that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So these are the 2 Comic-Con exclusives. Oh, we got some poop to clean. Woo! Sweep away the poop. So if you guys really, really, really want these shells, they are available on eBay. Beware that they are charging a lot for these. So these were $40 a piece if you were at San Diego Comic-Con and could get them. I heard some days they were running out of stock. On eBay, these are going anywhere from $80 a piece to $100 a piece, depending on what seller you find. They're getting bought out quick, so if you want these particular shells, you need to start looking on eBay now. Otherwise, these are coming to stores this fall, just not in these 2 particular shell styles. So if you're okay with a different style of shell, don't worry, these are coming to stores this fall. So keep your eyes out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.